Andrew Haug here for AndrewHaug.com, Australia's only dedicated 24/7 rock metal radio station. It is absolute tour galore here in Australia, and another band is on its way to Australia shortly, is Dying Fetus making a return. We do have drummer Trey Williams on the line to talk to us all about the tour and everything else that's happening in the world of Dying Fetus. G'day Trey, welcome to AndrewHaug.com.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No worries, and again, it's good to see the return to Australia for the band, and any sort of, I guess, fond memories of being in Australia for the very first time, because again, a lot of bands are coming here, and many of them haven't been here before, so obviously you have. What's so special about playing this sort of territory compared to ones you would have done numerous times over your career?
Well, I mean, it's the whole other side of the world. I mean, we don't get around to you guys too terribly often, although the recent history has been pretty good. This will be our third time coming back to Australia, and we've always had a good time. Show's great. You know, there's a good metal scene and rock scene in Australia, from what I can see, and it's going to be cool to get back out and see the country again, see all you guys.
Now let's talk a bit about the Reign Supreme record. It was out in June last year, being the band's 7th studio album. I guess you'd probably agree in some areas that the heavy music scene is quite saturated now, with every band having a chance to be heard. And forming bands and just putting everything up online. How does Dying Fetus sort of approach their music to stay ahead of the pack, I guess, considering that, as I said, there's quite a saturation of extreme metal bands out there that you may have noticed?
Well, it's weird, because with the proliferation and of the internet and how accessible everything is, it is harder to be seen, even though you got your voice out there. So it's like just as difficult as it was in the past, when it was just hard to be heard, you know. But it's cool to see the way everything's moved on, and we try to just stay on top of our game, be rehearsed musicians, and try to keep our ear to the underground and see what's cool, and modify our sound without completely changing it to work with the times.
Do you find that other bands that you're sort of keeping your ear to the ground are doing something different in the extreme sort of scene these days? Do you find that there's a couple that are just sort of thinking, wow, this is something that keeps you guys on your game, or you're actually becoming inspired by?
Well, we just did a tour not too long ago with Cattle Decapitation, and I've seen them, I've known them, I've watched them play before, but like now, they've really stepped up the game. And they're like a tremendous machine on stage. It's really impressive, And when we tour with a band like that, guys that are like elevating even their own style, elevating their own skill, makes you want to push a little harder. And I guess that can help you try to stay on top of the heap, I guess.
Dying Fetus have gone through some serious sort of lineup changes over the years, and John Gallagher, of course, being the main man of the group. Does he share his thoughts about where the band's direction may be going, considering that he formed the band back in 1991, and a lot of the scene has changed a hell of a lot since then? Does he keep his ear to the ground as well, or do you sort of keep him updated on what the hell's going on out there in the underground?
We all do our own listening on our own time. John's this has been his life, doing this kind of stuff, so he's surrounded by it, and you always are being introduced to new stuff. So we're always maybe we're not actively going out and trying to find the new thing, but you eventually hear it.
Well, let's talk a bit about new music. Have you guys been working on some new material, or even, as I said, getting inspired to take Dying Fetus in a little bit of a different direction? Is there a possibility of even, wouldn't say a complete sound shift, because I know when some bands do that, they get slayed by their audience who want to keep them the same, but does Dying Fetus feel boxed in to a certain scene where you're considering shifting a little bit, but concerned about reaction from loud, angry fans?
Look, man, we're Dying Fetus, and we're going to do what we do. And we may evolve the sound, but it's at the core, it's always going to have what we have in our music, which is, elements of grindcore, death metal, hardcore, and extreme metal in general, and injecting it into the way we like to play music. And are we going to make a drastic change in our sound? Absolutely not. But will we evolve the sound? Absolutely.
Where do you see the future for extreme music going? As we mentioned about a lot of these up and coming bands, and many of them are sort of posting themselves up on YouTube with just, bedroom sort of shredding footage and things like that. I mean, do you find that for bands like that, it's all well and good to be in your bedroom, but live is certainly where, it's going to make or break you, especially in the extreme heavy music scene, because as we know, a lot of people can do some amazing things in the studio.
Well, you always got to be able to put up or shut up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there that is very difficult to play, and that doesn't mean that it's impossible to play. You just have to be on top of your game, and you've got to be willing to dedicate your life to your trade and your craft. And the impressive thing about impressive music, when you see it live and it's done well, is you're really, and it's going to sound cheesy, impressed by it, but you can also let yourself down and let your band down if you're not on top of your shit. So, it's a double-edged sword. It's really technical, and it can be really cool, but if you don't stay on top of your stuff, you're going to look like a chump. But, extreme music has also been becoming more mainstream as it's evolved, as it's stayed in the music scene. People have started pulling elements of it and bringing it into the mainstream world. So we're going to have kids be a lot better at a base level starting out. Every year they're just going to be better and better and better, and it's just going to push it that much farther. And you're going to hear stuff you're going to be like, "That's unbelievable! I can't believe somebody could do that. I don't believe they could do it." And you might see them do it because their beats per minute that 10 years ago nobody thought was possible, and people are hitting it now. And music changes, man. It evolves. It gets more technical or devolves. Who knows?
Do you find it becomes also a competitive edge to it, especially in the drumming world, as we know about the fastest drummer competition and all that sort of stuff? What's your thoughts on the competitive edge of such and such is faster than you and all that sort of thing? I mean, do you still keep in mind of actual songwriting?
Look, speed is all. That's all it is speed. You got to play with groove and feel, and, you can play fast and make it feel good, but speed is just speed. I have a harder time just me playing slow. That for me, playing slow is harder. I have to think about it more. Playing fast, you can make a mistake and you're past it already.
Yeah.
But I don't like to play the beat per minute game. I don't really like to get into that. I just try to do what's best for my band and do it well.
Well, let's check out those tour dates, of course. You are heading to Australia shortly, bringing with you Putrid Pile, and the first show kicks off on the 19th of April at the Factory Theatre in Sydney, April the 20th at the Evelyn in Melbourne, the 21st at the Beetle Bar in Brisbane, and on the 23rd at the Amplifier Bar in Perth. We can get you to say a couple of last words, Trey, to the masses of Dying Fetus hordes out there, and even get you to choose your favourite track from any of the Dying Fetus records.
All right, well, I'll start with my favorite track. That would be Killing on Adrenaline, off of Killing on Adrenaline. And I would like to tell all of our fans in Australia, and whoever can hear me on your radio station, if you are a Dying Fetus fan, all of us in Dying Fetus really appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And when we get around your way, don't hesitate to come out to the show. And if we're walking around after or before the show, don't hesitate to say what's up. And thank you all for your support, and thank you for your time.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure, Trey. Look forward to having you back here. And let's check out some Dying Fetus right now, your choice track. And let's hear it. Here it is on AndrewHaug.com.